Manchester United have announced that Mason Greenwood will not continue his career at the club. There were 3 statements released today. One from the club, one from the CEO, and a very short one from Greenwood himself. Now, we're going to go into the details of what happened or what didn't happen, but I think a lot of the discourse around it has been around how Manchester United reached their decision. The fact that it looked like last week they were ready to bring him back into the fold. That leaked. The Athletic got an exclusive and leaked that. And within a week, we now have a decision that he's not going to continue. Are there any thoughts anyone's willing to...
Was that a leak? Because it kind of worded... It was worded like...
No,
it wasn't a leak.
So the Athletic were going to break it, and because there's like a process with the journalism thing, right? You got to give the people an opportunity to respond. Yeah. So you say, listen, I'm going to print this story. Have you got any comment? Manchester United saw that and then tried to get ahead of it.
They released a statement that
Hence
said
why
nothing.
you said like that. That was hastily put together.
I think Man United put that out there as a feeler. They definitely would have briefed the press last week. Put that out as
it was a litmus test.
You've got an exclusive.
No, well, the reason I don't agree is because the journalist who was putting out that thing in the Athletic, he did a whole thread on it, and he said that statement was put together really, really quickly after we've reached out and said this story is coming out. Do you have any comment? Someone within Man U has kind of leaked to him that that's where they're going, and they've told people this is the direction we're going. Let's prepare, blah blah blah. So he's saying generally in good faith, you reach out. Like if you had printed that story and not let them give a chance to respond, it's not conducive to good working relationship.
But that's come from United in the first place, though. That's what I'm saying. That's not by accident.
Based on what
you think that leak was planned?
Yeah. But based on what the CEO was saying, he was saying that the option to integrate Mason back into the team was an option that we had to look at. Yeah. Me personally,
not just look at. They planned for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Me personally, I don't think it should have even been a consideration, regardless of what happened with the court case, etc.
And then the internal investigation.
Like it was last year, January, it all came out. Like everyone's seen the video. I think for it to be recorded at that point and published, I don't think it was the first time it happened. Like it's very rare that someone gets in that position and they will start recording straight away.
At the back.
But I think it's happened before, and that person had recorded to say, this isn't the first time this has happened.
So I understand that. I guess I'm gonna stick with the facts here. So one thing the CEO said is is part of the investigation. There's 2 things. One, there's the criminal bit, but there's the bit they had to do as an employer and employee bit, right? They have to do the HR thing. And from when he's been found, he wasn't found not guilty. When the charges were dropped.
Yeah. And they were satisfied that he did not commit the acts that he was charged of.
That's what United...
No, wait, hold on. Before I even get to that bit. When those charges are dropped and it's not a CPS or criminal matter anymore, then the employer investigation kicks in. And they're in a slightly tricky position because if you fire him at that point, what are you firing him? Now, I can think of a couple of things, bringing the club into disrepute, all of that kind of good stuff.
There you go. That's enough.
Yeah, but
that alone is enough.
Well, we say that, but we're not employment lawyers.
We don't know the contract.
But come on, anyone with a decent job, you have not even anyone with a decent job, anyone with a job. We've seen it on Twitter. Yeah. People get sacked because they do a madness, and then the people go to the people's company and say, "This is your employee," and they go, "Right, fired." Anyone with a job, right? I'm gonna stand on this and say, anyone with a job, will have in their contract something about disrepute or the reputation of the company that they work for.
And then he goes on to say, we spoke to both sides of the situation, right?
Yeah.
And he has seen the full video and had the full recording that none of us have heard.
Mm-hmm.
So those things are key. Those things are key for me.
100%.
For him to put that out, because again, even for him to make his own personal statement as a CEO
of
a large business,
to me.
Yeah, he had to though.
Yeah, I think he had to.
I don't think he did.
Credibility wise,
he was getting a lot of criticism
the statement that United put out wasn't great.
And they made it clear that the decision was on him, not a joint board. No, the decision lay with him. So he's trying to, and it's not a normal business, right? You got, like you said, got fans, you got all of that.
Sponsors.
He has to
stakeholders.
He had to step out. So the only reason, so that's why I was telling that, because I think sometimes as we just have to have conversations where we realize we don't know everything. We've seen a view of things, and for him to come out and say, I've seen this, basically what he's saying is, I've seen this, you haven't seen it. I've seen this, you haven't seen this. I've talked to these people, you haven't talked to them. Hence why I've arrived where I have today and why it took so long. That's the only thing I was going to say. I have my personal view, but in this, just want to direct it.
And also
Okay,
as well,
so go.
they haven't even terminated his contract. So it looks like he's most probably going to leave on loan. And let's say he does well on loan wherever he goes. They're going to try and sell him.
They haven't. I thought they mutually agreed.
Nah, he's still under contract.
Sorry, again, what they have said is they're going to find a way to do that. I personally think the first hurdle was agreeing legally or whatever it is. You're going to leave, right? We're not going to fire you because we can't. Because they would have explored.
Don't want an unlawful dismissal case.
They would have. That's my point earlier. They would have explored all of that early. There'd have been lots of expensive lawyers who have been doing lots of billable hours on this in the last 8 to 9 months. So I think they've come to that agreement, and then last week sped things up massively. And what that statement read to me is, we've both agreed he's going to leave. We just haven't figured out how yet. I'm not necessarily sure that they might loan him out. I don't think they're going to loan him out. I actually think they might have to figure out what
they may have to.
What money-wise termination looks like. I think that might be one of the options they have to look at. Because who's going to loan him?
They have to pay him off. Yeah, they have to.
He's going to loan him.
Well, this is it.
You say that, I think he'll easily get a move abroad.
Abroad where?
France.
No.
Like,
look what happened. Look what's happening with Lorient at the moment. They're protesting against Mendy.
Sorry, Keith. I said no, and I didn't give you context. Sorry. The reason why I say no is because even with those guys, like how can I forget Mendy? Mendy, he got found not guilty. Fine, but we saw things, we heard things. He's getting problems. We've got the other player who's been charged with rape. I mean, he's still playing, which I don't think would happen. Yeah. They're processing about that.
There was another one as well.
I think the big nuance with Greenwood's case is the recording and the video. I just can't see anyone in Italy, Spain, Germany, or France taking him on loan.
I was going to say France or
I think
or
someone will
Turkey.
take him.
I
think he'll get
even
an
if
abroad,
it's not
but it won't
even
be
if
a
it's
big
not
Saudi?
Possibly, but it won't be a top, let's say 50, maybe possibly 100 club.
Okay, understood. He's not gonna rock up at, I don't know, Dortmund or something.
No.
Yeah.
So
and
you
it's
think-
a shame. Like it's I don't think necessarily the move might not even be this season. But I think maybe after the Euros, he might just under the radar.
Yeah.
Oh look, he'd appeared at XYZ on trial.
Mm.
Oh, it's worked out. Fine.
Well,
I don't think
I
necessarily this
disagree
season.
with that as well, because look at the Ched Evans case, right? He was charged.
Yeah.
Didn't he go? I think he went to jail.
Found guilty, went to jail.
He was acquitted after.
He appealed. He was acquitted.
Yeah.
And then look how long it took for him. All right, he eventually got back in the game, but look
But he
how
got
long.
a club like a week after he came out.
And then look what happened.
No, I agree.
He went to Sheffield United.
But
He
my
went
point
to
is,
Sheffield United.
clubs
Jess Ennis,
always.
yeah, but he went to Sheffield United. Jess Ennis threatened to remove her name.
She did.
And then they let him go. He
Yeah.
went to another club.
Yeah.
Same thing. Backlash, stakeholder pressure.
That's the thing.
He got let go. He
he's
had to
gonna stay
go
with him.
real low league in order to come back up.
Like for me, as much as I'm a stickler for like, my thing is always this with these things here. I don't know what it's like to be CEO of a business that large and deal with all those things.
Yeah,
but from the
of course.
beginning, early on, I've said he can't stay. Like he just can't.
That for
He just
me,
can't.
And the reason why, because I was
But
on
that's
Twitter,
easy for me to say that.
and I said on Twitter, I think it was poorly handled. And the reason why I said it was poorly handled, right, is because, all right, cool. They could only do, like you said, to your point, I totally understand that. Being one of the biggest clubs in the world and having to deal with something like this, dealing with all the nuances, like we can't just let him go because it's not just straightforward.
I thought they could have done it quicker.
We can't just appease the fans because then we've got to deal with Mason Greenwood and the legalities around that, right?
And the family of them.
And the exactly.
victims
So
as
I
well.
understand. It's one of those. It's very complex, right?
Sorry, just to add to your point as well. I think also the fact that allegedly they're together, they've had a child.
Yes, this
They're
is
still
it.
like
And
it's techie.
it's very techie. And yes, cool. They can only do what they can do within the circumstances. I just think with the leak, whether it was a leak or whether it was intentional, I don't think a temp check or even possible talk or consideration of reintegration for a club as big as Man United, that should have never been considered.
No, I actually think that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, no, but
that's
what, it should have
never
been.
I think that's what they wanted to do, but they put a little feeler out there and they saw the backlash and thought we can't do it.
Yeah, that's
what I believe. Even in his statement, he said we explored that option. That's telling me you wanted to do that.
And if they had, it's kind of like giving a green light for domestic abuse and there being no ramifications.
And that's why I said it was poorly handled.
It's something that shouldn't happen in any walk of life. Like,
I thought I could have dealt with it quicker, but he said something in his statement I was telling. The Manchester United players that were at the World Cup, they had to be part of the process as well. And he didn't want to do that until that had ended.
Yeah.
But I agree with Isaac. I think it could have been done. I think it could have been done quicker. I don't know everything. Because I think it could have been dealt with before the start of the World Cup. Because the no further action or whatever you want to call it happened in Feb.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
So between that and the World Cup starting, you had 4 months or so. These things take time. It's both all the limitations, but I do think it could have been dealt with quicker. And I just couldn't see any way, shape, or form. And as much as football fans are fickle, if you had come back, bang 10 in 10, all screamers, there is a section of football fans that would have just not let it go, but the tide would have been turning. That's not an excuse. I couldn't see.
The time we're living in, the PC era, it's not possible. There's no way they could have.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but nothing surprises me in football. I'll be honest. If you came back and played well, you get a lot of leeway because your talent, etc. So well, it's I guess it's done now, and it'll be interesting to see how the wider sport then handled, because he talks about continuing his career elsewhere from Old Trafford. It'll be interesting to see how the wider sport.
It was quite certain.
In
that statement.
It'll be interesting to see how the wider sport then facilitates that. One thing we didn't mention is somewhere like Turkey. Possibly turning up in Turkey.
I said that, yeah.
You said Turkey? Yeah, fairly removed from here. Still play Champions League.
Saudi.
I still think he's got a step before he has to go there, which says a lot about the fact that his talent gets you a lot more chances than it should.